Welcome to the Digital Amateur Television Experimenters Night. This is VK7OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania. Amateur radio is a worldwide hobby that has many different aspects. Digital television is just one of the many modes and areas that are covered. Maybe you're interested in becoming involved in the DATV Experimenters Nights. You realise that you do not have to be a radio amateur or need any ATV equipment to participate anywhere in the world. Also participate in the night by coming up to the Queen's Domain club rooms. Yes, right on top of the Queen's Domain in the heritage-listed Coast Wireless Station. You never know, we might get you in front of the camera or behind doing one of the many roles during the night. We get underway with our program on a Wednesday night from 7:30 p.m. local time. We'll see you soon. This is VK7 OTC.
This is VK7OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania, with our DATV Experimenters Night. And I have Larry VK7WLH in the studio with me. Hello, Larry.
Hello.
How you going?
Doing well, actually.
How's your week been?
Weather's not. Oh, the week's been pretty good. Okay. I was up here on Saturday and enjoyed the company of all the existing hams and the potential hams and the sausage sizzle and all kinds of other things.
In fact, I was going to ask you what your impressions were of the open day. So,
I enjoyed it. I was helped with the cleanup and stuff, which was necessary at the beginning before we did it all. But we had just lots and lots of different activities shown, and that was really, really cool. So, I was impressed to see people just sort of either heard about us from one media or another, and they popped up. So a whole bunch of new folks signed up, and they could walk through and see live demos and talk to people. So it was just, for me, it was just very, very positive.
Real people.
Yeah. Real people. They were the voice behind the mic kind of stuff.
And I have to say, I was probably a little bit surprised. There were a lot of couples who came up, younger couples who came up, and which just is quite a different demographic to traditional amateur radio.
Yeah,
which
grey hair here.
You can talk. So and they also we had, from what Reg told me, our learning organiser, our assessor organiser, training organiser. We had at least 3 people actually sign up for the January training day, foundation training day, which is fantastic. And they were, the 3 of those, I think, were related to these sort of couples. So there's a possibility that the other half may be doing it as well. And from Linda Luther, who was had a stand for ALARA, for the Australian Ladies Amateur Radio Association. She said she added 5 new ladies in various stages of their amateur radio journey to her contact list. So that was fantastic. So
I met a couple who had just passed. Apparently,
they were in the session a fortnight ago. They live on a boat in Cygnet, I think it's Cygnet. So yeah, they were eagerly awaiting their results. In fact, I got a email today from the AMC about results of we had somebody from Huonville Scout Group who resat their assessment, and they passed.
Oh, nice.
So all of the scouts who sat assessments at Huonville have passed. So, which is fantastic. Really, really good.
And the people living on the boat will find amateur radio is really useful because you don't always have some kind of shore system to talk to, and there's a lot of boat to boat, and if you're just plain familiar with the radio, it makes things safer.
Well and truly. And WinLink. WinLink is a system that the yachties use for HF, email over HF.
Oh, all right.
So I remember having a conversation with someone who was a yachty, had travelled around the world a couple of times, and was into WinLink. So yeah.
I think what was interesting too to me is that there a number of the many facets of amateur radio were demoed. There was optical communication and Morse code, and one of the fellows, Mike, had satellite weather, which is very good if you have a boat, and and it was an inexpensive way to do it. And so I think people got exposure to a whole lot of different facets.
Well, truly.
And Wyson was very impressive.
Correct. They came along with their tower, their trailer.
Crank up
the mast. Crank up mast. I was going to say pump up mast. It's not. It's actually a crank up mast. But that's the cloud buster antenna. And they had another mast there with a whole lot of Yagis on it that were pointed up north. So and Rex was there with his 23 centimetre Yagi pointed north, and he was receiving Peter Dowd VK7PD on 23 centimetres for the day, most of the day. So it showed that there was a bit of tropospheric ducting going on.
Digital was shown as
well.
True.
We had some static EME displays with some dishes and pointing dishes and all of that sort of stuff. We had fantastic coffee, actual barista coffee. Our resident barista,
yes.
Tony, VK7WLH, who also made the baklava.
And I bought 2 of those.
Which was divine. So 3 cheers for Tony. The inside of, if you were in the know, there was a particular version of it that apparently had what was described to me as Ferrero Rocher centres.
Yes.
So I thought that was very special.
And he had some sort of a flan thingy, which I don't remember the Greek name of, but that was tasty too. Sort of a little, like sort of a, I don't know, sort of a dairy vanilla slice kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Very good.
Okay, no, well, I didn't get that.
I bought one of those too.
Nice.
Yeah, well.
Nice. Now, what else? We had our Sean, VK7 FAZE, lent us the RF terminals, so they were being typed from one terminal to another via a radio link, so that was good. The optical, amateur radio direction finding. Okay, so fox hunting. David, who VK7 FABE, our treasurer, was our fox hunt person. So and that went. I saw people racing off down the paddock and in with a Yagi in hand, trying to find the giraffe. So
you need to tell them what the giraffe was.
The giraffe was the fox. So in fact, it was not a fox; it was a giraffe.
Giraffe hunt, yes.
So yes, that was quite good. And I'm sure I've missed something, but anyway, we had FT8 Hayden VK7WLH had set up our club station. I'm pointing that way because it's just next to us. Our club station with running FT8 on 15 metres, and he actually logged well over 400 call signs in, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours that we had the open day open, into Asia and Japan and New Zealand. It was absolutely going off. So those people who tell you the bands are dead, they're wrong. just look, and we're planning to do it all again in a bigger and better way in 2021. So watch this space.
It went well, and the weather held off just long enough for everybody to enjoy and then run away when the raindrops came.
We couldn't have had it any better. We were finished packing up, and guess what? It started raining. So there you go. It was good stuff. And we do have the in the videos at the end. We do have the video. I took some video during the day and put it together into a little video that is up on the REAST YouTube channel, and we'll be playing that tonight as well. Now, the other reason that Larry's in the studio is Larry brought in, and I'll just
Stuff.
Larry always brings in stuff.
I like stuff.
He's
It's so specific.
a person of my own heart. Now, this is something that Larry brought in. Now, some people may recognise this. I did like the way that you actually opened it up.
Yeah, yes.
It looks like it's exploded, actually.
That's right.
But explain what we're looking at here, Larry.
We are looking at an so-called electric toothbrush, but in fact it's electronic.
So
that goes in there, and then there's that's the base up there that was removed with some vigor, and that little spot that's missing is actually the on and off switch. That's where you push it, and then it runs for 15 seconds or 20 seconds or whatever it does.
Two minutes.
Yeah, well, yeah, you keep moving it around your mouth and for some whatever. But what's interesting is there's an enormous amount of technology in this.
There is a huge amount.
There's like 6 little contacts there that are the switch, which cycles it through a program so that you get 30 seconds on each side of your mouth or whatever. It just keeps cranking along. It controls the charge because this thing has you can look at the motor. There's the motor. Isn't that nice? And it's beautifully put together.
Now that's a solenoid. That's a solenoid.
Yes, I'm sorry. Well,
is it a solenoid or is it an actual motor?
It seems to vibrate, so I'm not really sure.
No, I think it's a motor actually.
Yeah.
Well and truly.
I had a feeling it was a motor, but I'm not sure I know got all the gearing up at the top. But anyhow, it's really, really, really well done, and it's not expensive for what you get. There's a whole gear mechanism in there that goes back and forth as well. Then there's
a whole lot of electronics.
The program, and you can cycle it through things. And then in the bottom there, under your finger, is the recharging coil because there's a battery behind it.
That's interesting. That's another switch.
Yes. I have a feeling some of this stuff is for testing when they're building.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's an induction coil which hides part of a battery. You can see a little green thing there.
Ah, yes. Yeah, you can see the in through there is actually an 18650 or something.
Oh, really? Okay.
I'm not quite sure, or it might just be a nickel metal hydride or something. And then an induction coil at the bottom which goes onto the base.
And when you plug it in the little stand, it charges.
Yeah.
And it does rather well. That lasted several years. And then you can't replace the battery. At least unless you...
Well, you probably can't because you might have a bit of a problem with the water getting in the bottom of the...
Yes, I think they seal it pretty well ultrasonically before they send it out to you. But does a nice job. And apparently it's 30 kilohertz.
Oh, okay.
And
the induction...
No, the induction coil is just AC off the wall.
Okay.
50 hertz in this country.
Yep.
But the motor, vibrates, I think, at 30 kilohertz and something like that. Plus, you can hear some subharmonics.
Yeah.
It's used because I think part of the functionality is the ultrasonic cleaning, and because it's coupled with fluid, then it helps, jiggle the stuff around.
Okay.
And they originally did a lot of that in the old days with cleaning jewelry. Have you ever seen the little steel cup, and then there's a transducer on the bottom of the stainless.
Drop it in, and all this stuff comes off your jewelry, and you wonder how dirty it was. You go, oh my god.
Yeah. So I think there's a combination of ultrasonic, but I haven't looked into it. But that's what I was advised.
It's an electric toothbrush. Oh. That's all. But that's what I mean. I think
a lot going on.
I think it should be called an electronic toothbrush, given the amount of electronics that are in it. But that's the inside of what an electric toothbrush looks like, which is just off the show. absolutely off the show.
Yeah.
And it's how long did you say this lasted for?
Well, a couple of years.
Yeah.
Like 3 years. We have a new one now.
Yeah. Okay.
We got, I think, the same one or something close to it. So all the various heads which fit on it.
It's a Philips.
Yes. Sonicare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, there are two in the market. There's a Braun and a Philips Sonicare. And a Sonicare has a slightly higher rating by dentists, although I don't know if they got paid more.
Oral B.
Oral B, yes.
Oral B. Yeah. Because that's the one we've got at home. The ones that we've got at home, it's the same. And I suspect inside they're the same as well. But anyway, probably all made the same factory in China.
Which label are we on now, Bob?
Correct. So, fantastic, Larry.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing that Larry brought along
is an antenna.
Now, this is your stock standard. If you've got a Wi-Fi router, this is a TP-Link Wi-Fi router for 2 and 5 gigs.
Yeah.
2 and 5 gigs.
Yeah. Now, if you can if you zoom back, you can. Oh, now turn it around. That's good. Turn it. There you are.
Yeah.
And that's normally one of many on the back of your router.
Yeah.
Sitting somewhere in your house. I think the last one I had 4 on it.
Yeah.
Which just seems to be a bit of artistic overkill, but whatever.
Ever wondered though? This is what interests me. Ever wondered what was inside one of these?
Yes, but let me also tell you there's a thing called BMO, which is not a takeoff on that that Disney film, but MIMO actually is an intelligent patterning for antennas,
Correct.
And it actually works. So if you have like 4 or 5, you can really
you can actually focus the beam in a particular direction with the arrangement between those antennas. So in phase, out of phase, etc., etc., etc. So
right, and you can place this, which is the real part that does the work.
I just find this fascinating that you've got an antenna that's actually this size, which I think's all for show, because size is everything these days. But what's actually inside, and we'll go to. What's actually inside is a very interesting little, what I suspect is a Collinear or something.
Yes, it is.
So
operational on 2 frequencies,
2.4 and 5. So this is, there's a little bit of coax that comes up here,
right?
A little bit of a spacer here, a smaller tube which ends up inside a larger tube, and that's actually rigid.
Yeah, that's the decoupling part.
Oh, okay, so it doesn't go back down the coax?
Yeah.
Okay, and then you've got and I suspect if we measured that length, it would be a particular length which would be related to a Wi-Fi frequency.
Right.
And then you've got one that's exactly the same at the top, with just the centre conductor going through between the two of them. And then you've got a little tube at the top.
Right, it's a classic collinear, but I don't know exactly how it's structured, other than it's very familiar to those of us who've taken apart our diamond antenna, except bigger.
Well, multiple elements in the collinear array. So, but given, I was just fascinated that that's what we're looking at that's actually in there, and that's what you actually get. I have a feeling that they're overcompensating.
Yes, one would think.
Somewhat.
There's some psychology involved here.
Yeah, well and truly, and of course you've got multiple ones on the back of your router that you can move in different directions.
Yes.
So absolutely fascinating. So thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
That's that. I'll look at them slightly more familiarly now, and probably move them around and see whether I can get them to actually operate any better. But that's absolutely fascinating. Thank you, Larry.
Indeed. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. And if you, I'm sure there will be a myriad of other things that will come our way. Let's try doing that. That's a bit better. So thank you, Larry. That is excellent. And I'll leave you to sort some more components.
I'm doing that. Yes, it's, I feel like the guy at the tip shop.
Well, and sad news of the tip shop. Yes.
Ooh, really?
So, well, The loading bay at the tip shop burnt down. You know about that?
No, I didn't.
Burnt down about a month ago, no, less than that. And so the tip shop, my favourite shop's been closed for a while.
Oh, that's the Hobart.
Hobart, yes, South Hobart.
Yeah.
Yes. Unfortunately, a arsonist got in and torched the loading bay, which was also included a storeroom and a few other things. So, not a good situation.
Well, there may be a tsunami of goodies coming.
They're working on. Pardon. They're working on opening the tip shop, because the tip shop actually wasn't affected. It was just the loading bay that was. The fireys were able to contain it, so I think they're working on opening the tip shop fairly quickly. So yeah.
I love that place. I got a 13 gigahertz 60 centimeter dish or something out of that at one point.
Nice.
Yeah, maybe
nice.
something like that.
Very nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Larry. Now, just thought I'd remind a few people. The REAST membership renewal emails have gone out, so that's you'll be getting them, if you haven't already, in your email inbox or your post box in the fullness of time for 2021, and also a bit of a great story around the amateur radio fraternity. So we have actually we've had him on our program a couple of times, I think. Glenn Aldous. Now Glenn, who come in, Rex. Glenn restores radios, valve radios, and he restored a valve radio for a friend of his up in Brisbane, whose mother was suffering from dementia. And one of the things that given she suffers from dementia, she has trouble with technology and operating technology. But one of the things about dementia is you can trigger memories through actions and things and items and all sorts of things. So one of the things that triggered this memory was her valve radio that she used to have, her valve broadcast radio. So Glenn came up with and restored one of these valve radios and sent it, shipped it up to Brisbane, and unfortunately, he made the comment. He said, but he put fragile on the outside of the box, which of course meant that it got to Brisbane in a number of pieces.
Oh,
I think it had the reverse effect. That's what I'm saying. But and so he, through a number of Zoom sessions, actually realised what had happened to it, and he was looking for somebody who had some soldering skills in Brisbane, and contacted me, who I put him in contact with somebody in Brisbane, an amateur in Brisbane, who got him together, got the radio together with the guy with the soldering skills, who put it back together. And I think they're literally doing that as we speak. So I just thought it's a great story of the amateur fraternity across states who are solving a bit of a problem with a vintage valve radio. So good stuff.
Did the valve survive?
Well, the valves survived. Actually, the valves weren't the problem. It was the transformer in it.
Yeah.
Because the transformer was heavy. Literally, it sort of had a life of its own when the box was dropped.
Yes, so, I've had experience with that.
So yeah, so that wasn't too good. But anyway, now we have Rex in the studio. Hello,
yeah.
Rex.
I'm not sure how we can do this, but there's a new program called windy.com.
Okay.
Which is very interesting for finding temperature inversions.
Okay, just hang on. Windy.com?
Yes. Now, if you just sort of click, say, about in the middle between here and New Zealand,
yep.
A right click,
yep.
And go down to sounding, you lift that up, you can see there's a small temperature. It's not an inversion, but a slower there.
Hang on. We want to get this up on the screen.
Probably, yes.
So what I will do here is we have the technology to do this. Okay. Yes, we've got the technology to do this. Why am I not getting anything? Okay. I'm not sure what's going on there. So anyway, just turn that around and I'll focus a camera on it. That's probably the easiest way of doing this.
Okay.
So that will do, and I'll come down and then zoom in a bit here
Now,
and focus. Lovely. Okay, there you go.
now, if you look, the red graph there, well, it looks black there, but the right-hand graph is temperature with height, as is modelled for about the next 5 days.
Ooh, okay.
Now, this is in the middle between Australia and New Zealand,
Okay.
and you can look with this slider at how
it changes.
Now this is this is a temperature inversion here.
Here you go. Rex,
Yes,
on the screen.
on the screen. Okay, this is a temperature inversion from here to here.
Yep.
Which would cause a big duct.
Yep.
And what you can do with this is move this in time, so that at that date, Tuesday, there's nothing, and now there's a very strong temperature inversion on Wednesday. Strong.
Moved up, yeah.
And now went late in Wednesday. Now it's disappearing.
Yep.
And then it's gone altogether, and you can sort of
That's outrageous.
and you can plot that any point
Anywhere.
on the path between wherever on the world, because this is a global meteorological model.
I love it. Let's go back to us.
Now, being a model, of course, it's a prediction.
Yeah.
But compared to the Hepburn charts, a big advantage of this is the Hepburn charts stop at about 1,000 metres.
Yep.
And particularly if you're in Tassie and you're trying to work over to the mainland, you need a duct that's higher than all the mountains in central Tassie.
To get over,
And quite often we get big ducts, which we don't even see on Hepburn, but you should see them on this.
There you go.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Wow.
So, a new tool.
Well and truly. Windy.com.
Yes.
Well, that's it. And that's anywhere in the world. So it is
Anywhere in the world. Now, I'm particularly interested for Hawaii because the ducts there are up around 2,000 metres.
Yeah, okay.
Hepburn never sees them.
Yeah. And actually, you could then do that comparison between what Hepburn's telling you and what this is telling you.
Yeah.
And yeah. Okay. Windy.com. Oh, excellent. That's very good, Rex. Thank you very much. Cool. Well, there you go. It's a little bit of morsel of out of the blue. I love it. Now, the other thing I can report, we have 2 extra foundation licensees who sat their exam on Friday. On Sunday. On Sunday, down at Signet, and they are scouts that have been trained up, and they sat their foundation license exam on Sunday, and I think they will do very well. They were certainly certainly enthusiastic, and they'd learnt the foundation manual and all sorts of stuff, and they were asking some fantastic questions along the way. So I think we might have another 2 scouts, so that makes 7 scouts down in the Huonville Cygnet area who will have their foundation licence in the not too distant future. So that's fantastic. Certainly we'll have Jota covered down in the Huon and surrounding areas. Now, whilst I was doing that, we were doing the practical, and Michael VK7MRS, who has done the fantastic work with these scouts, handed me a little black box, and the little black box was an ATU-100. And now it's obviously an antenna tuning unit, an automatic antenna tuning unit, and the thing that jumped out at me is there is a little OLED display on the front of it. A little, I think it's about a 4 or 5 line OLED display, and a big green button on the front, and a couple of LEDs, and then there are just two UHF SO239 connectors sitting out the back of it. It comes with a LiPo battery, so you can charge it, and the charging lasts for a long time. But this thing, mainly for HF, so from 80 to 10. Don't know how it would go on 160, but you push the button and do a little bit of a transmission, and it magically tunes and tells you what the SWR is on the screen. And I was so impressed with it, I've actually ordered one. So, and it's a little bit bigger than a cigarette packet, thinner. But a little bit bigger than a cigarette packet in size. So yeah, I was blown away.
Power rating.
But sorry.
Power rating.
Power ratings are under 100 watts. So 100 watts would be pushing it, but it's good for like 60 or 70 watts. So and I was more thinking about it from the point of view of I don't take a ATU with me when I go to on SOTA, because I use a linked dipole, so a pre-tuned antenna, and one of the ways you cut down, that's one of the ways that I cut down the amount of weight that I have to take in the pack. But if you were taking just a random piece of wire with you and the ATU, you could come up with a half decent antenna and be able to tune it right then and there. So but anyway, once it lands, and I suspect it will be probably after Christmas, the way things are going. But once it lands, I'll bring it in and we can show it and see what see what it can do. So so yeah, ATU 100. If you plug that into eBay or AliExpress or Banggood or your supply website of choice. So yeah, that's an ATU 100. Now we'll head to our videos for the night. I want to head out and I have a couple of bandpass filters that I would like to make out in the main room. But our videos for tonight, we start off with one which is very sad, which is the slow motion dish collapse of Arecibo, which happened during the last week. For those who have been following Arecibo, they had some issues which put some extra strain. One of the cables broke, and they go into this in the video. But the interesting thing was they happened to have a drone with a camera in it looking at the pylon that let go. So they have some excellent video of what happened when it let go, and these feature in the video. So that's a bit of a sad one about Arecibo, and they have decided to shut down the facility. So yeah, it's a little bit sad. We've got the video on the REAST Open Day that I mentioned earlier, and then a couple of the promotional amateur radio videos that we played during the Open Day. in there as well. So so that's for our videos for tonight, which we'll head to. I'll just put out a quick call. Anybody who would like to call in on repeater 2, if you're watching, by all means, please please call in, and I'll take some callbacks. This is VK7 OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania, with our DATV experimenters night, and we'll get underway with our videos. 73, and we'll catch you next time.